The psychology of the Buddhist teaching started 2,600 years ago approximately, and modern psychology started about 150, 200 years ago. And psychology is a branch of philosophy. The definition of psychology is studies the mind of sentient beings in relation to their relationship to each other, and their relationship to the society as a group, to the community as a group, and interaction in between. So this is exactly what we're talking about in the Buddhist teaching. The Buddhist teaching is quite similar to modern psychology. It's just modern psychology, put it in terminology that is a little different from the Buddhist teaching. But let's do a little bit of comparison while we're talking about it. We started with who am I? We start with the basic of who am I? Who are you? Who am I? We analyze ourselves. We say you. Who am I and who are you? We are body and mind, and we said with ear, the eye, the nose, and tongue, and the mind. Now, ear, eyes, nose, tongue are the senses that we have. But the body includes not just of the outer senses that we have, our sense organs, but also everything inside our body, the whole conglomerate, the whole of the body, which includes the organs, the skeletons, the fluids, the blood, the respiratory system, and all that. So that's a conglomeration of everything. But why do we bring eyes, ears, nose, tongue vividly to bring them out? They are part of the body. Why do we bring them out for discussion in the senses? Because they are responsible for the interaction with the outside world. They are the front-end salesman and sales lady of our body when we interact. And then the mind. The mind is, of course, we are a combination of the body and mind. And we have what we call the 18 realms of a sentient being. The definition of a sentient being, sentient, that means he has emotions, he has passions, he has feelings. Non-sentient beings, for example, a piece of rock, wood. A tree is a being, but it's a living being that is prone to photosynthesis because it has the kind of feeling that's not the same as sentient beings. A creeping plant creeps towards the sunlight, and the creeping plant will creep faster with enough water. So it responds as a living being, but not as a sentient being. We humans, dog, cat, all animals, we are sentient beings. Sentient beings will live in the 18 realms, we call it. Will live within the 18 realms. One of these 18 realms is worth repeating. 18 realms is senses, environments, and reactions. 6 senses, 6 environments, and 6 reactions. The 3, 6 becomes 18. This 18 realms that constitute I, constitute you, constitute the body and mind, work together to sustain this sentient being, namely me. But then we also say, we must understand that this 18 realms that we are in basically concerns about the present life. What does it say about reincarnation? What does it say about rebirth? What does it say about going in life and death in the samsara? It tells you what happened in your present, mostly. But then it's not enough, because who am I? Where do I come from? Do I just come from this present life that I have? Do I just come from this fusion of the ovary and the spermatozoa, of the two bodies together, to fuse it together to form me? Each sentient beings get born through the media or through the medium of a body, your mom's womb. But then we talk about this is just the present life. What about past life? Because our time frame, as most modern psychology only concerns, is about the present. The present human behavior, the present inner behavior, interaction to the outer. The modern psychology talks mostly about the present life. There are some psychologists who talk about past lives. For example, Aristotle talk about previous life too. Descartes talk about previous life. But the Buddha, the time horizon of the Buddha's teaching, the time vista, concern not only of the present. What is time? Time is not just of the present, it's of the past and the future. And these three dimensions, the past, the present, and the future, concerns not only of this life only, it concerns also about past life. In other words, when we look at the past, don't just look at yesterday. Don't just look at last year. Don't just look at 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 20 years ago. Don't just look at the time when you were in your mother's womb, before you get born. Look at the time beyond that, before that. The Buddha said, we all have the previous life. The previous life ending becomes this present life beginning. If we extend our time horizon to the previous life, we have a lot of mystics of the universe explained to us. Because by looking at the present life, there's a lot of unanswerable questions. If I have this life, if you have this life, if a creator created this life for me, for you, shouldn't we all be equal? Shouldn't we all be the same? Shouldn't we all be happy? Or if the creator says, no, we don't want you to be happy. We want you to be sorrowful. Shouldn't we be all sorrowful? But how come everybody is different? Everybody's destiny, everybody's circumstances are different. Some are born in a wealthy family, some in a poor family, some born out with a handsome face and the other baby born out with an ugly face, some born out defective, some born out intelligent. Everybody's destinies are different as everybody's face. Because we did something in the past, our speech, our action, our thought, which accounted for the karma, the energy that's brought forward into this present life. That means past energy affect present energy, and present energy affect future energy. In modern terminology, we call it energy. What is energy? Energy is invisible. We call it energy. But energy can only explain what is in front, what is for this life. The Buddha said this energy concerns previous lives. And the Buddha called it karma. Karma is an accumulation of all the deeds, benevolent deeds, malevolent deeds, good deeds, bad deeds, neutral deeds, all those, the speeches and deeds and thoughts that you have accumulated from the past, and when you died out your previous body, you brought this energy, which is invisible, into another life. And that becomes you. If you brought bad karma into this life, the truth of causality, the theory of causality tells us that then you suffer in this life more because you brought a lot of bad karma into this life yourself. Nobody induced any karma onto you. Not your creator, not God. You yourself brought forward the karma to suffer or to enjoy it. You are responsible for your action, your deeds, not just of the present life, of your previous life. Nobody else is responsible for it. You yourself are responsible for what you have done, what you have talked about. You're responsible for every thought. So don't you have to be careful with your thought, with your speech, with your action? because it all produces energy. The Buddhist teaching concerns about the psychology of the present life, which is in the 18 realms, and the Buddha talked about it in various sutras in tremendous details. But right now we're just having an outline. When we talk about the 18 realms, we recognize that they are involved in daily life. That is, one who is caught with these 18 realms, is in the realm of samsara. We are in the realm of samsara because we get caught in the 18 realms, our own 18 realms. View it in this way: the 18 realms can have three natures: good, bad, and neutral. When these 18 realms are producing malevolent, bad, not benevolent, malevolent deeds, then because of these deeds, bad deeds, sentient beings are born and reborn again and again and again in samsara, in reincarnation, fettered to the unending life and death cycles. On the other hand, it is here that it is in the 18 realms that our practice begins. Man is made and unmade by himself. Woman, everybody, you make yourself and you unmake yourself. You and me, sentient being, forge the weapons by which they destroy themselves, leading to grief and sorrow and suffering. Why do I say that? How do we, sentient beings, forge our weapons? What are our weapons? Our tongue, when we speak, our eyes, our ears, our nose, all these are our weapons. We forge these weapons, we produce them, we make these weapons by which we destroy ourselves. We can make our body a weapon. We can make our hand a weapon to hold a gun, a weapon to shoot out, a weapon to kill, our tongue a weapon to lie, our tongue a weapon to fabricate, a weapon to criticize, by which these weapons would destroy ourselves. We don't know about it, leading to sorrow, grief, and suffering, because they produce energy, you know. But on the other hand, we can also fashion our tools with which we build for ourselves peace, joy, and enlightenment. In other words, we can make eyes, ears, nose, and body and all that, we can fashion them into good tools in our practice with which we build for ourselves happiness, compassion, peace, joy, enlightenment, you name them, nirvana, Buddhahood. So these 18 realms, they are weapons to destroy yourself. They're also tools to build for your practice. So don't blame them, don't kill them. Don't blame your eyes for seeing indecent objects. Don't blame your tongue for yelling and shouting and cursing, because you are the master of these things. How do you use them? How? Which choice do you make? By the right choice and true application of thought, man ascends to divine perfection by the right choice and the true application of your thought. By the abuse and wrong application of thought, he descends below the level of the beasts. You know that. He can kill, he can lie, he can wage wars, he can below the level of bestial level, beyond the bestial level. Between these two extremes are all the grades of characters and personalities and temperaments. And we, sentient beings, are the maker and also the master. So how do you want to be your own master? Now, when I talk about is also expounded by all other positive thinkers. They all tell us, be positive. Your thought is the most important. But then, do they teach you how to build up these positive thoughts? How to practice it? Usually not in too much detail. When you want to get into how to do it, you know what happened to a thought, to a behavior, you get into the Buddhist teaching. Because all these are expounded in detail in the Buddhist sutras. But how many people care to read them? How many people care to practice them? Because our karma, in the malevolent way, in the bad way, has been too strong in our previous lives that pull us all down. This is a degradation of our morality to pull us down. Our karma is too strong on the bad side. In the ancient days, practitioner practice meditation. They become successful maybe after 2-3 years, and they became a saint. Now, how many people become a saint? So let's talk about the 18 realms, the present life. Now, when we say this 18 realms, the Buddha talk about these 18 realms in another way. It becomes the 5 skandhas. Take it from a different perspective, from a perspective that has a much broader time horizon. What are the 5 skandhas? Material, perception, conception, volition, and consciousness. Material include not only all the molecules and protons and electrons, everything outside. Material includes your eyes, your nose, your ears, and the body. It also includes all these objects, sound, smell, taste, all that. So that is grouped under materiality. Perception, conception, volition is all grouped under the mind. Perception is sensory organs, contact environments. Conception is conceptualization with images and words in your mind to differentiate, to discriminate, to analyze. Volition is to carry these words and thinking into actions, whereby karma is produced. So this is the mind. And then this is only concerned about the present. How about the future? This consciousness, we call it the manas consciousness and alaya consciousness. Let's first take a look at alaya consciousness. Alaya consciousness is the banking consciousness which store up all the karma of previous lives. Where did your karma get stored when you died, when we died? You think when we died, that's the end of it? It shrinks into consciousness. Consciousness you can see. It shrinks into karma, into alaya consciousness. The alaya consciousness contain all the karma in every one of your life previously. Hundreds of lives, thousands of lives, all get stored. No matter how long, that memory is unlimited. This alaya consciousness memory is unlimited. It has no limit to it. Do you believe in memory that has no limit? I clearly remember about 20 years ago when I worked on a computer. It's a very slow computer, and they say, this is fast enough. How many bytes, how many gigabytes, megabytes? And then I said one day, maybe in the future it will be much faster because the memory increases and increases and increases non-stop. And now, how large a memory? And if you're a computer analyst, if you're a scientist, can you make a statement and say, a computer memory is always, the highest it can go is this? Can you say that? Nobody can say it. There's no limit to it. That is exactly what this alaya consciousness is. But science hasn't proven it. But the fact that science hasn't proven anything does not mean that science is right. There are a lot of things that the scientists cannot prove. There's a lot of things that scientists have limitation. As a matter of fact, there are many things that scientists bias on. And what does the Alaya consciousness contain of? Basically, all the karma, all the seeds. Seeds not, it's metaphorical. It does not mean the seed of a plant. Seed means a storage of it. It contains unlimited amount of seeds stored in your Alaya consciousness. Whatever you have done, all the thought, every action that gets stored into this present life consciousness become a seed for your next life. So it gets stored in there. And when you die out of this body, it carries into the next life. And what was this manas consciousness? This mana consciousness is the tainted, the polluted consciousness that you've been carrying through, because Alaya consciousness contains good, bad, and neutral. Not just the good one, not just the bad one, not just the neutral ones too. And the manas consciousness is always carrying your ego forward to the next. It's always the polluted consciousness that has been carried forward life after life. And that is the manas consciousness. So this explains the basic course 100 of the Buddhist psychology in Buddhism, of psychology in Buddhism. These are the basics that you have to know. And when we reincarnate, when we die out of this body, we carry everything into the Alaya consciousness. The manas consciousness, the polluted consciousness, also shrink into the Alaya and carry into the next life. So that explains the concept of time from the past, the present, and the future. We become what we think, and we are what we thought. Our present thoughts and actions and speech build our life for tomorrow. And our life is the creation of our mind. So the Buddha told us to practice meditation, first of all, to put our mind under our control so that every thought that we have is decent. Every thought that we have is going towards the senior path. How do we think? We think with words and images. Without word, we cannot think. Without word, we don't even know what is an orange, what is an apple. We're confused. Yet we store in the consciousness that we have. But we need word. So words and thoughts, they come together originally with images. And the thought then, after this body is formed, manifests as the word, your speech. It comes out from your mind. So the thought manifests as the word. The word manifests as the deed. Or the thought also manifests as the deed. The deed, the words and the deed, your speech and your actions develops into habit. Because you always continuously think like that. If you continuously think jealousy, hatred, violence, sexual misconduct, greediness, disappointment, fear, depression, that would carry and develops. Because you think habitually, develop into habit. And the habits, what happened to the habit? It hardens into character. So watch your habit. That's the reason why your parents have been telling you all these things that would build a good habit and not a bad habit. And so watch the thought and the way and the way it thinks with care, and let it spring from good side, from compassion and passion and enlightenment. So, okay, that being said, let's get to the next one. When we have a thought, what happened? When we have a thought, it does not mean that the consciousness arises. When a thought comes up, it interacts with concurrent mental functions stored in your Alaya consciousness. It does not just a thought comes up and that's it. A thought comes up and then it interacts with whatever other seeds in your Alaya consciousness. Some are good seeds, some are bad seeds. What are these good seeds? Absence of greediness, absence of hatred, belief, absence of ignorance, absence of violence, repose of mind, equanimity. All these are good seeds. All these interact at the same time when the sixth consciousness come out. These, in Vijnanamatrata, the consciousness school of the Buddhist teaching, are extremely important to analyze. These are called the ministers of the king. The 6 consciousnesses are the ministers that help out the king to do what the king wants. So they happen at the same time. When your eyes see something, when your ears listen to something, these concurrent mental functions happen at the same time. You just don't notice it. These are the good ones. How about the bad ones? Greediness, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, doubt, false view, anger, enmity, affliction, envy, parsimony. What is this parsimony? Parsimony, well, our stinginess. We always want to receive. We always want to be, what would I get from this? How would I be benefited from this? Is it free? Do I have to pay for it? If I pay for it, how much? You always want to receive. You don't want to give. Even if you want to give, you still say, how do I protect my interest? Why do I have to give it to you? A philanthropist would give and give and give for the sake of others. A miser would just receive and receive and receive and protecting his own personal interest. That's why in organizations, in temples, in hospitals, we always want to give out. Don't keep your estates after you die and give it to your children who will argue and squabble about it and go into a solicitor to bring everything to court, and then the executor of the estate would take 10 years to straighten it out, and all these brothers and sisters will be fighting against each other because of this estate. Brothers and sisters could be good to each other until they hear out the lawyer. How come John has more share? John has 40% and I got only 35. Why? Mom is not fair. I got to fight for it. It has to be equal. They fight. And in some situations, in the ancient times, they kill. Do you see brothers in imperial palace kill each other just to get to the throne left behind by the king? They could even kill their own mom for that, because they thought that their mom, the queen, the mother, had favoritism towards certain brothers and sisters. Parsimony, that's the reason why we want to be generous. We want generosity. That's the reason why we find people who just enjoy the donor's help. The donors, but mind you, the donor's generosity is a habitual thinking, a thought of giving out. The more you give out, the more you get in return, multifold in return. Take a look at, read books by Napoleon Hill, read books by James Allen, read books by Andrew Carnegie. They all advise us, give, give, give. Don't be a miser. Don't be influenced by parsimony. Negligence, forgetfulness, pride, fraudulence, shamelessness, remorselessness, restlessness, unbelief, sloth, injuries, laziness destroy a lot of people. You may not realize it, especially some teenagers. For the past 4 days, you know what I've been doing? I've been going out to the farm in the field to supervise 6 teenagers. And I had experiences in supervising teenagers. They were just fresh out from school. I called them from the manpower department, and they gave me 6 teenagers. And in the first day, I gathered them together and I gave them a small little talk, because I'm quite good at it. And I said, everybody has a value, you and I. And then I saw one guy, sort of didn't like value. What do you mean by value? There's always a value. How much do I cost? I said, no, not only you have a value, I have a value. We evaluate you as a worker by your work attitude, by the way you present yourself. And I have a value too as a supervisor. You evaluate me on how good I'm in my coordination, how fair am I, how do I interact with you. So we all have values because we don't know each other before. If we don't know each other, everybody has a value. I don't mean a dollar sign in front of the face, stick onto your face and nose. I mean everybody has an invisible value. And don't you care about your value? And these teenagers, oh yeah, I care about values. No, value is not just self-interest. And I said, everybody has to work. So I give them a very brief introduction as to what they would do, and they start working. After 1 hour, it's tough work. If it is not tough work, why do I have to ask for their help? I mean, the temple has to pay a certain amount of money. I can't just ask them, okay, work, and I go away to where I'm working. I want to be on site. Do you know how to be a good supervisor? A good supervisor is not sitting down there and taking a phone call and tell them what to do. A good supervisor has to work with them so that they know what to do and coordinate it well. So after 1 hour, I can see the difference. Some people are really working, and some, we will try to shuffle things from the shelf. And there were 3 teenagers there really work hard, and one guy sort of standing behind and watch. I said, why are you just watching? You're standing there and they're working there. You know, standing takes energy too. You're standing there, it takes your energy. Why do you stand there and just watching them? Would it be fair for these guys who are watching and who are working and you're just watching them? I said, yeah, but I'm tired. I slept late last night. I said, if you feel lazy, don't come out to work because you'll be evaluated on your work attitude. So I give a lot of lessons teaching these teenagers. And then the second day they work much harder, third day and fourth day, and they produce a lot. So it's good. You know, you can always find good ways to give passion out, to give your service out. It depends on how you handle it. In my mind, I said, I got 4 teenagers, I want them to work, but I want them to walk away with some lessons in their mind that would benefit the rest of their life. You can always be a bodhisattva in whatever you're doing. Don't underestimate of everything you do. You always can be helpful, not just by giving money, by giving a word of advice, by treating them like your son, your daughters. But if you just whip them and say, work, 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 otherwise get fired, they won't listen. They will just, okay, fine, and walk away. None of them walk away. And at the end of the day, I will give them a red packet in which it contains $10. Everybody, I hand them $10. I said, this is extra money. You guys have been working fine. You have to praise them if they're doing work, if they're good. Don't just criticize them and watch them like a hawk. I'm not giving a lesson in management though. All right, so these are the concurrent mental functions. All right? So you watch your concurrent mental functions. When your consciousness comes up and then a concurrent mental function comes up, you watched it. Is it leading you to grave? Is it leading you to distress? Is it leading you to sorrow? Is it leading you to suffering? If a concurrent function, a bad minister in the parliament, leads the king to hell, leads the king to corruption, another honest minister would lead the king to enlightenment. Which minister do you like to trigger? You watch your ministers. Can you watch your ministers? How many people watch the ministers when every thought comes up? You got to watch. The Buddha told us to watch. Well, I'm not used to watching this. I just want to feel happy doing that. You know, my greediness comes, I don't even notice it. My envy comes and I don't even notice it. My depression comes, I don't even notice it. I noticed it, but I still get buried in the depression. You know why? You notice, you know that is wrong, but you still bury inside it. You know why? Your mind is not strong enough to resist it. Your mind is not strong enough. And the Buddha told us to do something to strengthen your mind. That is meditation. You haven't meditated enough. That's why you have to meditate. You always have to train your mind under your own control.